everyone, it's Emily Fox. Today's video is going to be all about book recommendations for reading slumps because a lot of you have been telling me that you are in the middle of one right now, which I have been on and off, currently off one throughout the whole year so far, but I wanted to give you some more specific recommendations of books that have helped me or I think would help me if I were in one right now. I also did a video in the past of like tips and tricks to help you out, including things like just don't read right now if you don't feel like it. So if you want more of those, I'll link those down below. But yes, specifically book recommendations. By the way, the latest book that has helped me for the slump was this one, The Queen of Tearling, which this brings me with my first tip. Go for books that you bought a while ago, you were really excited to read, but you just never got around to reading. This is what happened for me with this one. I bought this book like 5-6 years ago because of the hype on Booktube. This one and the whole trilogy actually, on my shelf, and I just never got around to reading it. Not because I didn't think it was still going to be good, it's just that it slipped in a crack. Like I just never got around to reading it because I bought way too many books. So eventually I got around to reading it last month and I really enjoyed it. So I'm really happy I ended up reading that one. I read it really quickly. It's like kind of chunky, but read it in a few days. So I would recommend this book in general, but also to look on your shelves for the ones you used to be excited about and you just never did. Often just reading the first chapter is enough to actually convince you that, hey, actually this is fun, let me continue. Second category of books I would recommend is mystery thrillers, basically books that you cannot put down. I feel like that helps me a ton whenever I'm feeling in a slump, and some of my favorite to recommend would be these two by Blake Crouch, Dark Matter and Recursion. I tend to call these my dad recommendations because they're the only two books I've managed to make my dad read since I started Booktube. So like, right? Also, I have a lot of friends that gave this to boyfriends, husband, father, brothers, and they've all really loved it. So I think it's a pretty safe choice in general, but I really enjoy these because they are sci-fi thrillers. You just need to finish them. They're not super long. They read like a movie, and you just need to figure out how it's going to end because you have no idea, and they're just fun. So I would highly recommend going for mystery thrillers like that you can't put down. Specifically these ones, but whichever other ones you are intrigued by. Another book that I personally could not put down and read in 24 hours, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. There's some hype behind it. Some people didn't love it, but if you just go into it with an open mind, I think you're going to enjoy this one. I read this one within 24 hours, like I said. I started it like 9 at night, and I went to bed way too late, and I had to find time during the next day to finish this ASAP because I needed to know. The concept is really fun. The writing is really easy. It's not super big, so I think this is a really great book to do so. I feel like everyone kind of knows what this is about, but a woman that is in between life and death, she's suicidal and depressed. She goes to this midnight library where every book in there is a different version of her life that she could have had if she had made different choices, and she gets to choose some of them. The concept is just really fun in my opinion, so I really enjoyed that one. Read it really quickly. Another book that I read really quickly would be this one, The Storied Life of A.G. Thickery. It's not super big. Again, it's like 200 something pages, 250 pages, and it's a pretty common trope. I feel like you have this widowed man who owns a used bookstore, which we all like books here. And one day you have this toddler that is left there and he has to take care of her in like small town vibes. It's a very wholesome kind of book, which I feel like if you're feeling in a slump, I don't know about you, but me, it's usually because I'm also not feeling super great. Like I woke up this morning. Let me show you what it looked like outside. I thought today was the perfect day to film a video about reading slumps because as pretty as it is, in April, you don't want to see more snow. But if you want feel-good vibes, I would highly recommend this one. Actually, another really popular one would have to be A Man Called Uva. Similar concept, old grumpy man thing, definitely something that ends up making us cry. So I really enjoyed that one, read it really quickly. Another one that is really popular, there's a ton of hype, but I really enjoyed it, could not put it down. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I did read this when I was feeling kind of slumpy-ish, and I may have had misty eyes while I was reading it, and I believe this is going to become a movie. It's been like talked about on and off for a while, but I really enjoyed that one. It's not, again, super big. The writing is very easy to go through. You're following the story of this old Hollywood star finally telling her life story through her 7 husbands and talking about who her one true love was. It's not necessarily my usual genre, romance, but I feel like sometimes when you are in a slum, going out of your way to read something completely different might help. So this was definitely one of the ones that worked for me. Another romance that worked for me. I'm always talking about it, I feel like, as like my exception kind of thing, but the Winner's Curse trilogy, I read all 3 books within the same month, which if you don't know my channel, I cannot finish series to save my life. That's not true. I'm working on it right now, but I read this one super quickly. It's a YA fantasy romance, and I feel like there was enough fantasy elements that I was really enjoying it, and because it is YA, I feel like it's even faster of a read, and I read all 3 books so quickly. I feel like I should probably reread them. I think I'm afraid that I will not enjoy them as much, you know, like 5+ years later. But maybe I should give them another shot. If I'm ever really deeply in a slump, I think I will, because you will just want to know how it ends, what's going to happen between them. It is a hate to love kind of romance, which seems to be some of the only kind that works for me. I know there are a bunch of other ones that are really popular, and I've tried some, but they just never end up working for me as much as this one did. Speaking of going out of your way to read from different genres, bear with me with this one, but nonfiction. I know a lot of you will be like, that is the worst idea ever. I feel like whenever I'm in a slump, nonfiction is like something that's going to put me to sleep and not make me want to read ever again. I can see this, but bear with me for a second. I would highly recommend Furiously Happy by Jane Austen, especially as an audiobook. I believe she's the one narrating it, and I really enjoy that one. It's about mental illness, her life story, and it's just very like casual, and it's really funny, but it's obviously about serious topics, and it's just really nice. It made me giggle when I wasn't feeling great, which I feel like that's a must whenever you're in a slump. She has 3 books. I've read all 3, listened to all 3, I should say, because I believe she's narrating all 3, and it's just comforting. It makes you feel very normal with all your weird stuff going on, so I would highly recommend her in general, but this was my favorite one by her, so I feel like this kind of nonfiction might also help. A few other ones that I would recommend that are easy and quick read, I would recommend So You've Been Publicly Shamed by Jon Ronson. Also would recommend the audiobooks by him. I believe some of them, or most of the ones that I've seen, were narrated by him, at least the one I listened to, the one about Psychopath. And he's just really likable. Like, he's very awkward, but it works. But this one's about people that tweeted things that, you know, they shouldn't have never done, and how they are stuck living with the consequences. And I really enjoyed the part where you see how different the public reacts depending on their gender, how they reacted to the backlash. It was just a really interesting topic in my opinion, so I feel like something like that might be different enough that it helps you out. And again, audiobook would probably be even easier to go through it. For right now, I'm currently listening to A Taste for Poison, and it's about 7 different kind of poison and how they were used for murder. So if you are a true crime fan, you will probably really enjoy this. I'm not, but I still think this is different enough that it's just making it very interesting to me. For example, the first one I listened to was insulin. So how this man used insulin to kill his wife. I feel like the majority of the ones I've listened to so far are husband killing their wives. Why can you just not get a divorce? I don't understand, but it's really interesting. You get a little bit of like how it works and then the case, and like it's just really fun and different. So would recommend that. Last but not least, I wanted to recommend some things that were a little bit more slow paced, because a lot of the ones I've recommend are really fast paced, action based books, which in my opinion helps me the most, but I know it's not the case for everyone. And again, if you are feeling slumpy, it's probably because you are also not feeling great. So some of the ones that are a little bit more feel good, except for some of the ones I've mentioned, the A.G. Fikry one or Man Called Uber will make you cry. This is probably also good. But one of my favorite one would have to be The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I just adore her. And it's just very wholesome, this one, like even more than, there's this one also that's really good, but this one there's great friendships, and you have some strong emotions, and it's just very wholesome and comforting. And I feel like if you are in that mood, this would probably hit the spot. I had done a video where I was reading really bad reviews of some of my favorite books, including this one, and I think people were saying how it's just like queer aliens in space, like being space pirates, and like they were saying this is a bad thing, but in my opinion this is like, yeah, doesn't that sound awesome to you? So yes, would recommend her in general, but specifically this series. Another short one that I really enjoyed was this one, In an Absent Dream by Shane McGuire. This is her We Were Children series. There's like so many books already out, but this is by far my favorite. This is the 4th one, but it's technically standalone, so you can read it on its own. And again, super short. I did do a video about some of my favorite short books. I'll link that down below if you're interested. I actually did 2 videos on that topic, so a bunch more short recommendations, but I feel like this one is specifically a good one because it is a really really quick read, and I really enjoyed it. It's about children that goes through doors to like different world, think like Narnia. So it was good. So once again, I will be linking down below different videos that I would recommend you check out if you are in a reading slump, if you want more nonfiction recommendations, which I need to do a second video on that topic because I've been reading a ton and enjoying them, weirdly enough, for me, and about short book recommendations also in the comment section. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thumbs up, subscribe. Please let me in the comment section some of the books that helped you out whenever you were in a slump, specifically fast-paced one or short ones that you think other people would really enjoy. I will be putting more videos on the screen that I recommend you check out, and I will see you in an upcoming video very soon. Bye.